Hello, I'm Callum Dilietto, and this is Flock Together, the podcast for events and travel professionals. Season 1 is in partnership with Visit Berlin, the Berlin Convention Office, and we're here today at Shooting Glen with the one and only Steve Lang. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
The one and only is right. I think you deserve that introduction.
Stop it. Don't be saying that. A lot of people, well, I'm hoping some people will watch this and they're, oh my God, I'm going to be ribbed so much about that. But thanks for that. Honestly, it's a pleasure to be here. You're doing a really great thing with this. So you met some amazing people. You pulled some great people together from the event industry, to be fair, and really different characters and very different elements of the event industry. So well done for doing that. It's cool. Pleasure to be part of it.
No, I appreciate it. And you were one of my first calls because I thought, who do I know that's got lots of personality?
And a bit of that, right? Bit of rabbit. Yeah, well, we know each other, we go way back. In fact, I was saying to somebody earlier about the first time we met, I didn't realise we met because you were on one of our events 2015,
yes.
When we did one of our first big events for Kia, and you came along and you told me afterwards when we properly met that you were along there and that you were really impressed by it. And actually quite recently I was flicking through those pictures and there you are, you're fresh-faced.
As a HR journalist, I was there.
That's right.
I was there. I did a couple of your. I did a James Bond themed masterclass. I did a safari one.
Yes.
And I think there was even a camping one, a Boy Scouts one.
Yeah, there was that as well. The Great Outdoors, the first electric vehicle that was launched by Kia in the UK.
And that was, I remember as a HR journalist thinking like, oh my God, like this is really cool. And then next minute, I've fallen into the events industry and
here we are again.
Here we are.
History. No, it's amazing. And the thing about it is what we did is it was so different. We broke the mold so many times back in the day and we're really proud of that, what we did, the creativity. I mean, James Bond event, we kidnapped delegates, for goodness sake, It was in a nice way, ladies and gentlemen.
It was great though.
No delegates were harmed in our events. But yeah, it was good fun. It's great to push the boundaries and have a team behind us who can do that.
Yeah. Well, the first part of the podcast is reform. And that is all about basically you grabbing that feather, turning it into a quill and saying what you will. It's writing a letter to the industry, as it were. So what would your letter be?
I think it would be, and it's related to a little bit what I said about our events and the people aspect of it. We've got to go back to, in the event industry, remembering what's really important and what our business is. And our business is about people. The people who attend our events, and the people who put those events together, not just the people at the top or your client, whatever, they're everything, running the whole infrastructure. The success of any event is all about the people who are part of that event, relaying. Someone once told me that sales is about, and the effectiveness of communication is about the transfer of enthusiasm, right? So it's about people transferring that enthusiasm to other people. So my job as an event manager and all of our organisation is to transfer that enthusiasm to our team to then transfer that to the attendees of the event. And I think sometimes we kind of lose track in the event industry that it is a people industry. And I know with COVID and that, it's taken us a bit virtual, but still needs someone to press a button. It still needs somebody to put it together and organise it and do it well. And I guess the reason I say this, Callum, is because I went to an event and you were there at CHS. It was a great event. It was really well put together. And I was asked to do a survey questionnaire after the event. And one of the questions that were quite odd, but very of now, which was how important was the sustainability aspect of the event to you?
And that seems like a common question that a lot of events are probably asking right now.
Yeah, loads, because you go to any event industry and there'll be a sustainability and a diversity and a growing talent seminar, right? Brilliant. And all of those things are so important. And no one's going to put it's not important. Sustainability isn't important. You literally will be dragged out into the streets and hurled things at you like the Queen in Game of Thrones, right?
Shame.
Exactly.
Shame. Yeah.
And it is massively important to us, particularly being in the electric vehicle space, which we are a lot of the time. But the thing is what we focus so much on that and not everything else that makes an event successful. So, and that I said is the people. So where was the questions about how important was the innovation in the event? How important was the creativity of the event? How immersed did you feel in the event? What about the service? How important was the service and what did that have? All of those things are just as, if not even more important than the use of a paper straw. You know what I mean? And I think in an event industry, we need to look at, particularly the people who are organising these things, in what can you directly influence? I can directly influence how my team feel. I can influence whether they get paid quickly. I can influence how they are treated on the event. I can influence how the feedback I give them. I can influence the fact that I'm not blaming anyone for mistakes or anything that happens, because it's a real learning environment. I can influence, therefore, the well-being of the people. And they, therefore, they will take that feeling and influence others who attend. So I think look at what you can be directly influential on, rather than, or you can make the most impact on, rather than, a small amount. I can't really influence the government kind of like legislation on education in this country, but I can help. It's another thing I'm really passionate about, is helping people get into the industry by going and visit the universities, and I'm involved in that a little bit now as well, and speaking to people who are on event management programs and giving them the best opportunities to work and get work experience in our events. I could do that. But I can't change the world.
I think you're right. It's about trying to make change in the bits that you're actually directly in control of.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're doing a lot of that yourself. So that's really good. And I think engaging with young talent is great. And yes, we probably shouldn't be too distracted by trying to do everything. And if you can focus on one thing and do it really well to the point where you can execute some real ripple effects, then rather than trying to do a million things and not really doing them at all.
Well, I think if you focus on those things, you can, like the people, then you will influence things like getting people into the industry. You'll influence things like diversity. You'll also influence talent, and you'll influence also sustainability, because you're passionate about talking about that, and therefore people will believe that and live that, rather than go, oh, it's just another box I'm ticking. If Steve and Motiv8, this is part and parcel of what we've got to do as part of this event, we'll do it.
So the next part of the podcast is all about remembering, and I'd like you to remember your first ever work trip abroad.
Okay, I've got a good memory. I have to, because it was a long time ago, right? And when you talk about work trip, the first time that I went overseas, right? And I used to work for an organisation, I had a great boss, a guy called Steve Fox, and he gave me the opportunity to go and do a training event over in Madrid. And I always remember he said to me, when you're going over there, Steve, he said, you want to and you're coming over and you're with them for a few days. And he told me, he said, go to the airport shop before you go out there, just buy something that represents England, London, whatever. So I bought these little double-decker buses full of sweets, right? And I went out there, and it was a great event, and it was wonderful. It was really good, and I got on really well with everyone. I gave everyone involved in the event these little double-decker boxes. Honestly, they were going crazy over these little double-decker boxes full of tiny jelly beans, right? And they loved it, and that's something that stayed with me forever, right? Actually, when you go somewhere and you want to make a good impression, there you go. Here's something from where I'm from. Give me something to you and get something back. And I remember I got something back, gave it to my boss as well, and he was well chuffed about it. So that's kind of stuck with me, and just going over there to a new country, I was 23, 24, and it was really young, very wet behind the ears, and it was a great experience, and learnt something, and got to know everyone as a result of handing out little goodies.
I think, do you know what? It shouldn't be underestimated, the power of just a very small but thoughtful gesture.
Yeah,
it does go a long way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and still do it occasionally now,
And what about your last work trip abroad?
Abroad. Well, I mean, I was in Dublin on Thursday, which is great, doing this week, doing a recce, which is great, and I love going over that. And it just going over and seeing the venue and meeting the clients, the place you're going to work in prior to running the big event, still gives me a thrill, wherever it might be, I was over in Catalonia earlier this year as well, and that was great as well. And because I'm involved in automotive, we go and see some amazing racetracks around the world, and in the UK. I mean, a lot of the stuff's UK, right? But but I still get the buzz wherever I go. So yeah, Dublin this week, and you just go, I'm excited about running the event. And of course, it's traditional, like you got to have a Guinness at the airport.
Of course you have to get, and you have to make your way to Temple Bar.
You do.
It's
you do.
just a given.
I love those traditions that we have with that. So yeah, so that was very current, and yeah, I can't remember. I can remember a long time ago, but more than a week ago, I struggle.
The next section is about revisiting, and I'd be curious if you could go back in time, teleport yourself back into to you, however many years ago, at a destination or a destination experience that you would want to relive. What would it be?
Not work related or not work related.
It could be either.
Okay, I'll tell you what it would be. My experience when I was 21, and this actually defined my life and where I became to be now.
Is this going to be camera friendly?
It is camera friendly. Don't worry. I'll leave out those bits. No, I was 21. I got the opportunity to go to Camp America, and at that age, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. And I went to Camp America. The concept of Camp America.
Yeah.
You go over there and you look after kids on a summer camp for a few months, and then you get to tour around America afterwards. They basically pay for your ticket out there. And that, at the time, I didn't know what to do in life, but I went there and it kind of opened my eyes to developing people, to developing, in this case, kids. And then also there's a social aspect of it. There's other people who are the same age as you. I was 21, and we'd go and we bought a car just to go down to the local bar and back and things like that. And I waited till I was 21, of course, because in America you could drink when you're 21.
Of course, smart.
But it was just a whole experience and opened my eyes to travelling and getting out there, which I still love. Still get a big kick out of going anywhere in the world. But most importantly, it's that I'm quite good at developing people. So that's where, years later, I then became involved in training in events, and then Motiv8 was formed. And that's our focus is on behavioural change, and always has been, and exciting and infusing people, and that's ultimately what we did for the young kids on the summer camp. So I would happily go back, not just because I'll be 21 again, which would be amazing, but just to go and relive that experience of meeting new people. I went out on my own, you had no friends who came out with me, met friends out there afterwards, but you made friends. That's the key thing about it. And I'm still in touch with some of the kids I looked after, it's incredible. So, absolutely got me involved in the world I'm still in now. So I'd revisit that like a shot.
That was something I wanted to do, and I went to a lot of the meetings, and I went through the process. And then for one reason or another, it didn't go all the way through. And that's one of my biggest regrets, actually,
really?
Because everybody I know that did Camp America came back so rich in life experience.
Yeah, that was it. You had the opportunity to go out. They gave you the opportunity at a time when you probably couldn't afford the airfare to America. That was it. They gave it you then. You met friends. We did stuff like we did a vehicle drive away where people who were business people at the time would basically fly to a destination, and they will get students and young people to drive their car there. So it was there. So we basically drove a car for some top executive, for 21-year-old English people from Washington down to New Orleans. And we went to, Nashville, Memphis, and followed the Mississippi River down, and all the fun in between. It's incredible.
Sounds so good, yeah.
It was good. But the stuff on the summer camp was just great as well. And that stuck with me. And what's also stuck with me on that, Callum, as well, is you have to be creative to entertain and put together productions. So we were putting together productions to entertain people, and that's basically events. We were putting on events, at the age of 21 to entertain people, and that's kind of what we're doing now.
That was it. You got the itch, and it
got the itch, and that was it.
Yeah, couldn't scratch it.
I know. You said, what did you do instead of going to Camp America? Can I ask?
I just stayed on at uni. I ended up doing a placement. I mean, to be honest, I probably owe my career to not going,
well,
because it was an internship that led to a job, which led to another job, which led to where I am now. So regret is probably a strong word. I don't really have any regrets, but it was definitely something that I'd wish I'd done.
Yeah, I'd recommend anyone to do it.
Yeah.
Or something similar.
Yeah. And the second part of that is, if you could make any hotel that you stayed at a home, which hotel would it be?
It's kind of it's a difficult question, really, because I kind of think the hotel shouldn't be a home, but a hotel I'd want to keep going back and revisiting. And actually, my business partner will laugh about this when he hears this, because I used to stay a lot for work in a place called the Hallmark Hotel in Manchester, right? Because we used to do a particular event up there on a regular basis, kind of like quarterly. And I had to do, when TripAdvisor was in its infancy, they asked me to do a TripAdvisor review, and I was like, if Colesberg did hotels, it's the world's greatest hotel. And my business partner David still derives me of the fact to the day. However, what made it for me the greatest hotel in the world was the fact that when I walked in, back to the almost like Cheers mentality, I walked in, everyone knew my name, and it's the people. Going back to what I said earlier, the people make the experience. So, Steve, how you doing? How's your week been? What you've been up to since I last saw you? Good to see you again. And the smile and the greeting and the familiarity.
Was that the service, or was it just because it was you? Everyone knows you, Everyone smiles when they see you, so they're like, "Oh, it's Steve."
Smile and laugh. So
next customer comes in and they're like, "Yes, you're right. Okay, off you go."
I guess it's the fact that, because a big thing about hotels is they see so many people. So there is really important things when you work in the people business, and that is things like knowing someone's name. And it's something I encourage our staff on an event to do. Know every single person on our team. Know their name. When you meet them, know who they are. From everyone, from the person we do automotive, who cleans the cars, right up to every part of the management team. It's really important to do that. Everyone on an event is a person, is human, and that's really good. As you are when you're a guest in a hotel, and as you are when you are working at a hotel. So it was that. Yes, I might have been a regular guest, but they made an effort. And it was good fun to be there. And for me, for a hotel, being away from family, it's nice to know you feel like part of a family at a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of made it for me. And so it's that kind of personal service, being treated like not just another number. Any hotel that does that for me, any venue that does that for me is ticking the box straight away.
Now I want to challenge you to reimagine your role. So many people in our industry organise experiences, events, incentive trips for their clients and their customers. I want you to imagine an incentive for yourself, right? A trip, a once-in-a-lifetime experience rewarding you. Where would you go? What would you do? And more importantly, which celebrity would you bring along with you on that trip?
Not much then, you're not asking much.
Just want your dreams, put your dreams out there. Maybe someone watching or listening will say, actually, I'm going to make that happen for Steve.
Again, it's about making it personal. So someone who, the best incentive trip must be related to the individual you're putting it on for. It's like, we deal a lot in sales, and you've got to cater what you're supplying to somebody to that individual, right?
So for you as an individual,
to know the individual and what makes you tick. So what makes me tick? What makes me tick is I love music. I love going to live music events. So I'd love to go somewhere where maybe at the end of the night there's a 20-minute set by the Foo Fighters and then followed by Taylor Swift, right? I've got a very eclectic taste in music. That would be great. But who would accompany me on that, and what would happen on that event? I'd like it to be an enriching experience where I learn. My mantra, as a lot of people know, is every day's a school day. You've got to get something out of it, right? So if there was some sort of educational aspect to it, it'd be great. But also it's who you're with. We know this, it's about who you're with. And we met some great people here. This flocking community that you've created is incredible. And you learn something from people. So I want to learn from people. And I think the celebrity, someone who's got a good story to tell, right? So I think someone like Sir Michael Caine, right, for example, right? You bring him along.
Yeah.
And he's lived a life.
Yeah.
So he'd tell you a story on the plane. He was a bit of a hellraiser in his day. So you'd have a good night with him, right? And I think we'd get on all right. Anyone like that who's got good tales to tell, so it could be a Dave Grohl, going back to Foo Fighters. He's a bit of a storyteller as well. Just someone who would be interested to listen to.
I could see you on a plane with Michael Caine. I feel like you're the Michael Caine of the events industry.
Is that what you reckon?
Yeah. And then you're going somewhere to a music, but what would the destination be? Where in the world?
Something vibrant with So somewhere like, talking back to America, somewhere like New Orleans.
I love New Orleans.
It's such a beautiful place.
Electric.
Isn't it?
Electric. The music in the air,
The
atmosphere.
music, the people, the joy, the fact
food.
that the food is incredible, the drink is incredible, the fact that they've been through so much adversity and that they've come out stronger as a result of it. So it'll be there. Me, Michael Caine, Foo Fighters, Taylor Swift.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans. Yeah.
That
Amazing.
sounds great, to be
Doesn't
honest.
it,
That
actually?
actually
That'll
does.
do, wouldn't
That
it?
really does. So for the final part of the podcast is React. And it's just a quick fire round just to get to know you a little bit about some travel decisions that most people have to make. So just without thinking, just straight in with your answer, okay? No pressure, don't worry.
Thinking, right, okay.
Packing, last minute or the week before?
Last minute.
Carry on or check in?
Carry on.
Airport lounge or shopping?
I now want to change what I'm
Oh, you want to change carry on?
Because it annoys me when people carry on and bring too much and they don't need to. It need to. So I always like to think, chill out a little bit sometimes when you travel. Don't get stressed about it. Don't be going, I've got to put this in, where am I going to put this? Just check it in then. So I'm going to change that.
All right, you change it to check in. That's fair. That's fair. I'm the kind of person who never checks in, so I will always carry stuff, but I pack so light that you would never know.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Airport lounge or shopping?
Shopping. But influenced by my wife over the years.
You said it's so much. You're shopping, of course.
It's shopping, yeah, but it's part of the experience. I still love going to an airport, and it's mooching about is good. Yeah,
I agree with that. To be fair, aisle or window seat?
Doesn't matter as long as other people get the preferences that they want.
You're such a saint, aren't you?
It doesn't matter.
City or nature?
City, I think.
Lay in or early start?
Early start and then stay up late.
Basically, no sleep at all. Poolside or seaside?
What about neither? What about just
Dry, just
mooching about
away
and maybe
from
doing a little trip somewhere? I think it'll be poolside, really. Yeah, poolside with a nice cocktail.
Nice. Planned or spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
Hotels, boutique or brands?
Boutique.
There we go. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Callum. Honestly, that was
absolute pleasure.
really good. Thank you for letting me be part of this as well. Thank you as well for the cameraman.